Earning money feels hard, but strangely, saving money feels even harder. And most people don't talk about that. You work, you put in effort, you earn. And the moment money comes in, your brain gets a clear signal. Something good just happened. But when you don't spend money, when you save it, your brain gets no signal at all. No reward, no relief, no satisfaction. Just silence. That's where the difference begins. Earning gives you immediate feedback. A paycheck arrives, a payment clears, you see the number go up. Saving doesn't do that. You didn't spend and nothing happened. Your brain doesn't register that as a win. It registers it as a loss, as if you gave something up. Because your brain isn't wired to see money as something to store. It's wired to see money as something to use. So when you earn, your brain says, now do something with it. And when you don't, it creates tension. That's why earning feels like progress, while saving feels like standing still, even though the reality is the opposite. So far, we haven't explained why saving feels uncomfortable. We've only looked at how your brain experiences it. And that distinction matters before we go any further.
Your brain isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. Your brain evolved to keep you alive today, not to make you rich 10 years from now. Thousands of years ago, saving didn't mean safety. Spending meant survival. Food eaten now mattered more than food stored for later. And that wiring never disappeared. So when you save money today, your brain doesn't see security. It sees risk. It sees resources being locked away instead of being used. That's why saving feels tense. Not logical tension, biological tension. Your brain runs on dopamine. Dopamine isn't released for future benefits. It's released for immediate action. You spend money, dopamine. You buy something, dopamine. You avoid discomfort, dopamine. But when you save money, nothing happens. No chemical reward, no emotional relief, just delay. And the brain hates delay. That's why saving feels like punishment instead of progress. Not because saving is wrong, but because it goes against your default wiring. This is also why motivation doesn't fix saving. You can't out-motivate biology. Willpower fades, discipline gets tired, and eventually the brain pulls you back to comfort. So the real problem isn't that people are bad with money. The problem is that saving asks the brain to do something it was never designed to enjoy. We'll talk about how people who do save successfully aren't stronger. They're just playing a different game.
Most people quit saving right here. Not because they're careless, not because they don't understand money, but because this phase gives nothing back. You save a little, and your life doesn't change. Your stress doesn't drop. Your options don't expand. Your problems don't shrink. You still feel one emergency away from everything falling apart. So your brain asks a fair question: what's the point? This is what most people never hear. Early saving is not meant to feel good. It's meant to feel quiet. Because at first, money doesn't give you power. It only shows you how little room you actually have. And that realization is uncomfortable. Saving $500 doesn't buy freedom. Saving $1,000 doesn't buy peace. It only exposes fragility. That's why this phase feels pointless. Not because nothing is happening, but because what's happening is invisible. Every dollar you save isn't protecting your lifestyle yet. It's training your nervous system, training your brain to delay comfort without receiving relief. And most people fail here because spending gives feedback, while saving gives silence. No celebration, no confirmation, no signal that you're doing it right, just restraint. This is the silent phase. And the silent phase is where progress actually begins. Because once you survive this stage, something subtle starts to shift, not in your bank account, but in how you react. And that's where real control starts to form.
At some point, something changes. Not suddenly, not dramatically. You don't wake up richer, your bank balance doesn't look impressive. Nothing about your lifestyle upgrades overnight. But when something small goes wrong, your body reacts differently. An unexpected bill shows up, a delay happens, a minor expense hits, and for the first time, you don't panic. There's a pause. Not because the problem is smaller, but because you are steadier. Money hasn't given you freedom yet. It has given you space. Space to think, space to breathe, space to decide instead of react. That's the first real shift. Before this point, every problem demanded an immediate answer. Every expense felt urgent. Every surprise felt dangerous. Now, urgency starts to fade. You're no longer forced to solve everything right now. You can wait. You can choose. You can respond calmly. And that calm is control. Not control over life, control over yourself. This is where saving stops feeling like deprivation and starts feeling like quiet strength. You don't feel powerful, you feel stable. You don't feel rich, you feel capable. Money is no longer something you chase for relief. It becomes something that protects your decisions. And once money gives you time, growth becomes possible without chaos. Because real progress doesn't start when your account looks big. It starts when your reactions get smaller.
Eventually, this control compounds, not because you saved more, but because you stopped reacting less. Small decisions stop draining you. Setbacks stop shaking you. You don't rush. You don't overcorrect. You don't panic buy solutions. This is where saving finally turns into leverage. Not leverage over people, not leverage over life, leverage over timing. You can wait for better options. You can say no without fear. You can move slowly and still move forward. Money doesn't push you anymore. It supports you. And that changes how growth happens. You don't grow by forcing big moves. You grow by making calm ones, again and again, without breaking yourself in the process. This is why the early phase mattered. This is why the silence mattered. This is why the discomfort mattered. Because what felt useless at the start was actually building the one thing everything else depends on. And once you have that, money stops being the goal and starts being the tool. Most people look for ways to make more money. Here, we focus on learning how to react less. If that's something you want to build, subscribe to the channel.